Okay, so let's take a look at this patch. So this is a patch that I've been working on before. I made this, I don't know, like a week or two ago, and then I've just kind of gone around and labeled it to try and make sense of it, because I tend to make my patches quite messy when I first make them. Occasionally I'll start out and try and be tidy, but more often than not, it ends up a mess, and I have to kind of go in and tidy it up afterwards. And I think that just suits my workflow. I'm quite, I just like to grab stuff and chuck it in and see if it works, and then I might delete something quite a lot. So I don't really want to start making it all organized and then end up deleting half of it. So this is semi-organized now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make some changes to this patch now in this video, and that's what I want to focus on. So I'll just play you a little bit of what this patch sounds like at the moment. I guess it's got like a kind of, it's just a drum beat and a bass line, and I suppose it kind of reminds me of something like, I don't know, like Escape from New York or something. It's some kind of like film sequence, you know, like it's all about to step up. Maybe like the big boss man is rallying up his gang, you know, everyone's sharpening their knives, reloading their weapons, getting their Molotov cocktails ready. Oh man, it's about to kick off. So the bass line, which isn't really a bass line, is it? It's just this held note, which I can change. That's just coming through this filter here. In fact, it's got 5 filters on it, because I'm doing various scooping and a bit of high roll off there. If you turn the resonance up on this one, you get a real nice growl, actually. But yeah, so at the moment there isn't really any movement going on, and that's what I want to work on today. I want to add some movement to that bass line. So we're going to automate the filter here on this low pass filter here, and that's going to create some movement. But what I thought we could do is we could try and take a slightly different approach with it, to maybe just adding an LFO or something. I thought what we could do is sync it up to the prime time. So I'll show you what I'm going to do, and it's all fairly simple, but I quite like this idea of having not just one set timing, but maybe 4. So let me kind of show you what I mean by that. Hopefully it'll make sense in a second. So I'm going to create 4 prime patterns firstly, and again, I'm not going to put these tidily just yet, because I'm not quite sure how I'm going to lay these out. I've done this before with kind of drum beats, like trying to create like a sort of pattern launcher, but I haven't done it with automation before, but I guess it'll work exactly the same. So all we need is 4 prime patterns, and then I'm going to create an amp. This amp is just going to act as kind of the last step before we go into the filter frequency modulation here. So that's going to sit there, and that's just going to act as like so we can fine-tune how much or how little we want to send from these patterns. What I'm going to do now is, I'm kind of like working this out in my head as I go along. Oh yeah, I'm going to grab a clock. So let's take the 1 clock out of here, and we'll put that into this first pattern. And now if we toggle that on, that will begin. Now if I also grab the 2 out of here, so all I've done here is I've got the prime time, and then I've just kind of created these breakout chains here. So imagine this is the 1, this is the 2, this is the 3, this is the 4, and it's just I think I borrowed this idea of someone else, one of someone else's video. I said, oh yeah, that's probably a good way of doing it. Rather than having things coming out here and having splits all over the place, actually create your splits, kind of preempt the splits. But whatever you want to do, that's number 2. So then we'll take the number 4, which is this one. You'll see what I'm going to do in a minute. Maybe you already do. I mean, it's nothing. It's nothing groundbreaking. Oh, that's blue. I don't want to be another blue, do I? Let's make it a purple. Ah, cool. All right. So that's 4 clocks. I think I'm a bit close to my wall. I just touched it. Cool. So that's 4 different timings coming in. So now, what I want to do is, I also want to keep these in sync. So what I've done on this one, as I've done in previous videos, I've got this this pattern here is acting as kind of the master sequencer, which is all explained here. So at the end of this sequence, it's only got 4 blips. When it gets to the end of that sequence, it sends a restart, and it sends a restart into this split here, which goes to various places, and one of those places is over here. So this, you see, that's already restarting. In fact, maybe I'll restart. Shall I restart from this, or shall I restart from that, or is it exactly the same anyway? I don't think it really matters. Yeah, I'll restart from here. So this is going to be my restart for all of these. And that's just going to keep them all in sync, because considering they're all, I started this one at a different time, so they're all kind of running in their own world at the moment. So let's put connection mods and let's get a split. Let's take that. And then let's put a split. So this is going to be split here, split here. So it's going to go split to all the restarts. And then every time that sequence ends over there, it's going to restart all of these sequences. And because they're all in kind of even divisions, it's the 1, the 2, the 4, and the 8, it should all just, like, you know, be in some kind of order, I suppose. I do wish, I always find the cables hang over the sequencer, and I'm always looking for ways to kind of tidy it up. I mean, you could create another split or something, but I'll just leave it like that, whatever. So, what do we need? I'm going to create, so, like I say, this is what I could do is I could come out of this and I could create a connection mod. I could create an add and basically combine all the pitches of this into this, and then that would come into this, which it will do. And then all of these values combined will then be the automation for this. But what I want to do is I want a way of choosing which one of these I want to be in control at any one time. So the way I'm going to do that, and I've done this before, but not like this, like I said, is if you get a toggle bank, and as you see, there's 4 of them, which is why I did 4 patterns. And then we're going to use a module I haven't used yet in any of my videos, and that's going to be the gate. So I've said before that I don't really fully understand the logic modules. I understand them well enough, but the gate one is quite simple, to be fair. So you literally, if you imagine this, and you can imagine this in the same way with an amp. Sorry, I'll go back to this explanation here. So the first input signal, which is this one, so coming in here, that's going to be your signal that's coming in. So that's going to be your whatever. It could be sound, it could be anything. It could be a value from the pitch here, which is what it will be. So actually, let's do this. Let's set it up. So the first one, this will be the first one, right? So the pitch is going to come in to that, but at the moment, this will not go. Eventually, I want this value to make it to this add, which will then go to this cutoff, but it won't do anything until I send a signal to this one. And basically, these toggles, as we've talked about before, will send a 0 and a 1, so 0 and 1. So if you can get over 0.5, which explains here, if the second input is above a threshold 0.5, it will then allow that signal that's going into there to come out. So it acts like a switch, basically. And actually, this amp works in exactly the same way. So if you turned your level down and you put the switch to be in the in of this, when you press this on and off, that's going to allow whatever's going into here to come out of here. So it works exactly the same way. An amp or the gate, they work exactly the same way. If you have these knobs set up like this, CV all the way up and level all the way down, this will act in the same way as this, but this will give you 2 outputs. So it's a bit bigger though. So we'll use the gate. So that's going to be my first button, right? So now, and let's just see if this works. If I change some of these, let's change these up to this. Are we currently getting anything through? We're not. Yeah, so if I have this button off, the value of this will not come through. If I turn it on, the value of it will now come through. And if you'll see on the filter down here as well, it's the same there. So I can actually boost that up a little bit. You can also turn the range up a little bit, and then you'll get more range on that cutoff. So there we go, we got some movement on that filter. So hopefully you can see what I'm doing now. I'm going to do this 3 more times with these other buttons. So let's create another gate. And let's put the, sorry, I'm going to put that there, pitch into this. I'm going to create this one as blue. That's going to come down here, and it's going to go into the add as well. And then I'll take this button and make this the in and the out. So now if I turn this one up, hopefully you'll get the same. Turn the range up as well. Yeah. And you can see now that's working. If I turn that off, it stops. If I turn that on, that's the number 1. That's the number 2. And you could actually, I think you can even combine these, but it's going to sort of go a bit crazy. So you're only going to get a clean one if you do 1. So you need to like toggle between them like that. It would be really nice, and I think I've suggested this before, it'd be nice if there was a way of making these buttons exclusive, so you could just you could just make it so that, like a solo button, I guess, on a DAW or whatever, just have an exclusive bank, because then you could quickly jam between like ideas. But at the moment, I just do it like this. So I'll be like, that's number 1, that's number 2, that's number 1, that's number 2, and you've got to kind of grab them like that. So let's do 2 more. Create. Pitch goes into the top one, remember. We'll make this one yellow. The button's going to be, that's going to be the button. See, we're getting into a mess already. This is what happens. These cables, you just, I mean, you could have sort of approached this in a more tidy way, but I'll tidy this up in a minute. It's fine. So now that should work for number 3. Obviously, we need to actually send it some values so we can see what's going on. Yep, seems to be working. And then finally, we're going to do it for number 4. Pitch goes into the top one. Make that one purple. Purple. That's not the right hole, is it? Not at all. That's going to come into there. Okay, so all of these now should be working. Let's put the range up on both of these as well. Just got to remember that these all kind of want to be. They don't need to be the same. There's no rule here. It doesn't matter if they're not. But let's just start with them all the same. So now they should all be sending a signal. Is that right? That one's not sending anything, is it? Oh, it's just slow, obviously. Cool. So that one, that one, that one, and that one. It is working, isn't it? It's just a lot slower than the other one. Cool. So let's have a listen then to what these sound like. Turn that down a bit, and then put this on. So bring these levels up. Somewhere around there. So you can hear already that there's like there's some automation going on. Yeah, and so the idea of this is that I can kind of sort of jam between these different speeds, and they'll always be in sync, because I actually did this before earlier, and the way I did it was I put these gates before the prime patterns, and I was controlling the clock coming in. But the issue with doing it that way was that they weren't always in sync, because if you jumped to one of these at a certain time and you weren't quite on the beat, they wouldn't be in time with the music. But now they're always in time, because the clock is being handled before the switch. Yeah. So all this does is it stops the actual value coming out. So you can turn it off like that, and now there's no automation. I've noticed that if you have the resonance up too high, it almost sounds like it's out of time. You see, it just kind of creates a bit of a... it's a bit more on point with just the resonance. With the resonance down. And you could even put the glides up on these, so let's try that. So now you can hear now it's more of a sort of delayed sweep rather than being jumpy. And it's still quite jumpy, to be fair. It'd be nice if you could change the amount of glide, wouldn't it, on this? That would be useful. And what you could do as well, if you want to make this even more, let's just turn these down a bit so I can actually hear what I'm doing. If you want to get a bit more range out of these, well, actually, to be fair, I could have just turned the range up on these. But another way you could do it is that you could come out, if you want to create even more range. I mean, you probably don't need more range than that, do you? That sounds quite good, actually. I'll take that back down like that. Yeah, quite like that. What I was going to say before I got distracted was you can essentially magnify this amount coming out of here by creating a split. Get a split. So now this amount will still come out of here into here, but what I'm going to do then is take the split, and I think I got this idea off Daniel actually when I was asking ages ago about how to do this, like how can I get more range on a knob, and it's as simple as this really at the moment. You can just split your signal coming out and then take it twice into an add. So now when you come into this, you're actually getting twice the amount, I think. And then if you add another one, it's going to make even more range and even more range. I mean, that's too much range now. Yeah, and then you can choose how much range you want by doing that. Why that one's not. Maybe I need to turn these full range. Oh yeah, there we go. But can you see then, this would be just a way of like, because I think the one thing we're lacking at the moment in SynthVR, and it's not like it's not that I'm saying this is a bad thing. I'm just saying that this is something that I would like to see in the future. Is a way of creating more variations easier. I like the idea of in a pattern maybe you have sort of stored states. Maybe you have like an A, B, C, D or something, or maybe even like 1 to 10, and then you can quickly jump between different patterns. Because at the moment, I mean, you're not limited because you can make stuff like this, but you are slightly, you know, it's harder to come in here and make a big like a bunch of variations to a filter on a synth than it is in, say, like Ableton Live, where you can just create 20 different clips with variations on the filter. You know, in here you have to create these physical objects, which is good and bad, I suppose, in a way. But yeah, there are ways like this that you could jam in between different ideas, and you could use this to do 4 variations on a bass line in terms of the notes. It didn't have to be the cutoff; it could be anything. So, yeah, I just wanted to show that really. What I'll do now is I'll tidy this up a little bit, and then I'll upload the patch, and then you can come and have a go if you want. Okay, so I'm going to upload the patch in just a minute. When you load into the patch, it should. What I'll do is I'll bring these levels up. Like I said, I can't remember if I explained this earlier, but these are essentially, if I turn these off, you won't get any level through the master. And this is the master left, master right. This is the master left and right toggle button, which is just controlling this amp here. So if I put that on, you'll get the left channel. If you put that on, you'll get the right channel. But I'll leave these set where they are because I think that's a pretty good level. Depending on what headphones you're using and stuff, you might need to boost these to be able to hear it that well. I'm actually using a headphone amp, so I'm using my Quest with virtual desktop in a different room to my computer, but to boost the volume of the Quest, I'm using a headphone amp. So I'm coming out of the Quest into a headphone amp, coming back out of that headphone amp into my headphones, just so I can keep the levels of SynthVR low, but still be able to hear what I'm doing. And that's all to kind of avoid sort of triggering that limiter too much, I guess. I was just going to say, I can't remember if I explained it before, but you can boost the audio in here as well. I've already got mine set to 200. I pretty much leave it on there, especially when I'm using virtual desktop. And the limiter is on. So, yeah, this is what it will look like when you load into it. And then all you need to do is you need to come here and do the toggle to start. So, toggle this button here, and that's going to start the sequence eventually once it gets to the end of that. Yeah, and then you get this. So I'll leave this one as the default activated sequence, but you can come in here and mess with these. This is your fastest to your slowest, and you can also mess around with this as well. See, if you start to go too hard with the drive and the resonance and stuff, you just really blast that limiter and it squashes everything. This is where it'd help to have some dedicated EQs, I think, and maybe a compressor, but hopefully in time we'll have those things. But for now, I find the best way is just to try and keep all your volumes down. Keep your volumes down in SynthVR where you can, and then you can, or you can bring it back up in post, you know. I quite like that actually, that steady note, that's quite good. Yeah, so I'll leave it there, and I'll upload this patch. I might even leave this actually as the default stance. Yeah, let's upload it as this, so here we go. Settings, and discover, and share. Yes, I'm sure, let's go, let's go. One, 8, 4. Okay, so 0, 1, 8, 4. So now hopefully, let's see what happens when you load it. Oh, it's looking good. So you can see it's loaded it, and everything seems to be here, but we still need to start it. It'd be nice if you could have it so that that would toggle on at the start, wouldn't it? But yeah, so all you need to do hopefully is press this, and it's going to tick through this sequence. When it reaches the end, it's going to send an end of sequence, and that's going to start everything. Yeah. Alright, so come and have a go. It's not even letting it go down, is it? I like that. Whoa-wee! Whoa-wee! That's a good noise, man. Okay, let's go. Alright, so come and have a go if you want. Don't have a go if you don't. And then cool. I'll see you on the next one. Alright, bye.